Jushin is a world-class school situated in South Korea. The school was established by a strong organization with the goal that the offspring of the privileged could concentrate on here. Admission to the school is by inheritance. However, even among the honor there is a unique interior ordered progression. The people who abused are rebuffed harshly. This is what befallen one of the understudies who chose to conflict with the framework. First he was beaten and scared, after which he took steps to educate the police concerning everything, except couldn't evade, turning into the survivor of an auto collision. A couple of months after the fact, another school semester starts, and the chief requests to invite another understudy. Kanha is a basic and unfortunate kid who has procured the option to go to a first-class school thanks to his grant and magnificent grades. While attempting to get to know his cohorts, the kid sees that he isn't being focused on. The critical figure in the school is the grandson of the pioneer behind the instructive foundation, Ryan. He is the person who makes the understudies quiet, talk, or acclaim, and not a single one of them will get up from their seats until he does it first. Ira pays heed to the entertaining and charming newbie, proposing to trade telephone numbers with him. Attempting to subside into his new school, Kanha searches for his group and a spot at the work area, however he is pursued away like an untouchable. He's poor and the others would rather not see or hear him, so they disobediently disregard the person. Simultaneously, the world-class secondary school understudies are loosening up in a different room and examining a sweetheart who left for the US 90 days prior. Jay is Rihanna's sweetheart, who left the country all of a sudden. Ira and Woojin are their companions who are stressed over the couple's relationship and don't see the reason why the young lady is disregarding them. Regardless of their kinship, Ira will go through the night with Ryan, however he doesn't need it. At night, Jay reaches out and illuminates about his appearance in Korea. Ira meets her companion at the air terminal and proposes a joint gathering, however the young lady recommends doing it tomorrow at the course. She goes through the following morning with her family among their dear companions and business partners. The dad could do without the appearance and dress of his little girl, so they battle a ton. Tearing the highest point of her dress, the young lady conceals in the nursery, where she coincidentally meets a piano player attempting to make money. This person ends up being Kanha, who upholds the young lady in word, yet in addition without a doubt, giving her his shirt. Somewhat later, Jay meets Ryan and companions. The young lady offers the person to organize a race, the victor of which will make a wish for the washout. Ryan acknowledges her terms and 2 or 3 beginnings the race. The young lady acts forcefully and drives at maximum velocity. Eventually, losing, she nearly has a mishap in view of which Ryan flies out of control and Jay completes first. Subsequent to winning, she pronounces that she needs to separate as she doesn't adore the fellow and doesn't have any desire to accompany him. The following morning, Kanha figures out that he and Jay are cohorts. The person needs to go to additional classes, yet he is overlooked by everybody, after which the tip-top requests that the head men clarify for the rookie where he should be. Poor people, who got the valuable chance to concentrate on here on account of their insight, tell that the school has an extraordinary order and the individuals who don't submit to it very well may be executed. This is precisely exact thing happened to the school kid whose spot was taken by Kanha. In spite of the terrifying truth, the person responds cheerfully and gets back to the platform with the tip-top understudies to welcome them. Respecting the person's chutzpah, Ira welcomes into a party at her ranch-style home. The following night, a vehicle shows up to get Kanha and carry him to the party. The younger students respond to the novice with clear criticism, accepting that he doesn't have a place here. After seeing the person, Ira proposes playing Russian roulette with a couple of shots of liquor, as there is an unexpected in one of them. When the person drinks, obviously something has been added to every one of the shots aside from the first that Ira drank. Kanha becomes ill and unsteady, so the person can't remain on his feet and battles to recover awareness in the restroom. Seeing that Jay is likewise present at the party, the person is in no rush to return home, obviously keen on this magnificence. Subsequent to getting the message, Jay goes to the house where Ryan was hanging tight for her, wanting to talk once again and get the relationship in the groove again. In the meantime, Kanha, Ira, and the others play a round of truth or activity. At the point when it is Kanha's move, he is inquired as to whether there is a young lady he needs to go through the night with. The person favors activity, yet he is proposed to energetically kiss one of the young ladies present at the party. Everybody transparently implies that this individual ought to be Ira, yet Kanha leaves in an obscure course. Eventually, plainly the departed school kid is his own sibling, whose burial service he persevered with trouble. Kanha is prepared to effectively retaliate for his sibling and rebuff every one of those capable. Accepting that Ryan ended his life, Kanha goes into the house and energetically kisses Jay before the school chief and the unexpected group, and the young lady responds. The following morning, Ryan reviews what is happening and the way that he insulted Kanha for his demonstration. Simultaneously, Woojin covertly goes through the night with educator Han, apprehensive in case they be uncovered, The couple subtly meet in a leased condo prior to leaving through various ways out. Ryan's mom gets back without precedent for months, yet is totally unmindful of her child. The person would like her to take as much time as necessary, however the lady believes that there are a lot of workers around him, equipped for fulfilling every one of the impulses of a rich school kid. Understanding that his mom couldn't care less about him, the kid leaves in one of her own vehicles. In the meantime, Kanha comes to school and attempts to befriend different understudies. Yet again, he is overlooked by everybody in light of his status and monetary status. Kanha knows about his sibling being defrauded by Rian simply because he becomes friends with Jay. Knowing how much the school chief loves this young lady, Kanha picked her for an explanation and chose to do all that to outrage Ryan against himself. Meeting in the container toward the beginning of the day, he understands that he has succeeded in light of the fact that the really menace fantasies about embarrassing and annihilating Kanha. Ryan chooses to examine what is going on with Jay, yet the young lady disregards him, advising him that they have separated and are currently companions, so he has no option to pose her own inquiries. Furious, Ryan orders his closest companion to ensure the others rebuff Kanha for his discourteousness. Somewhat later, Yoon-sok orders the remainder of the unfortunate school young men not to associate with Kanha, however does so squarely in his presence. The school kid chuckles at the circumstance and stops one of the disrespectful young men from hitting him upside the head. Seeing Jay, the person fails to remember all that yet gets smacked upside the head directly before the educator, however she responds in no way to what's going on. After the example, Kanha chooses to apologize to Jay for his kiss, however concedes that he truly appreciated it. At night, Ryan returns to old tapes with G and continually contemplates the young lady, longing for getting the relationship back. Ira attempts to help her companion and offers her assistance. Late around evening time, Jay and Woojin subtly meet in an underground bar to drink and talk like lifelong companions. Simultaneously, the young lady keeps on being coerced with a secret camcorder recording made by a departed understudy. The following morning, while at the same time hunting, her dad gets a call from somebody, and the young lady understands that the blackmailer might uncover her. An unnerved G envisions her dad will shoot her to try not to need to get through this disgrace, yet fortunately it is just her prolific creative mind as the man is simply having business issues. The following morning, Kanha sees Yoon-suk concealing pills in his storage room and expects they are unlawful substances. His departed sibling had discussed school kids purchasing restricted substances and frequently utilizing them against their foes. While trying to uncover Yoon-suk, Kanha requests that the instructor open the pantry, yet it ends up being a soothing and not a danger. Simultaneously, the understudies plan to ruthlessly whip Kanha, and one hears this, however chooses not to illuminate her mom, who functions as the school head. Jay goes to air up her assistance so her companion can help her sort out the blackmailer. Toward the end of the week, the school children can invest their energy as they wish. Some loosen up in the pool or play sports. Others go on field trips and live in lodges on the school grounds. Jay eats with her companions, yet she gets exhausted with the presence of Ryan, who fantasies about getting her covered at any expense. Overlooking her ex, the young lady leaves and meets Kanha going to the pharmacy. Jay chooses to stay with him and 2 or 3 takes off on a bike, getting a charge out of nature in the sea. Before long they get found out in the downpour and play with a little pup and ride back at night. While a horde of menaces sit tight for Kanha outside his lodge, Jay welcomes the person over to his place to allow his garments to dry after the downpour. Instructor Han, who has chosen to go through the night with Woojin once more, sees this and tells the person. Yoojin calls Ryan to call the head to mediate in what's going on. In the meantime, Kanha and Jay watch a film and the person begins nodding off. Detecting the heartfelt state of mind, the young lady admits that she also partake in their most memorable kiss. The couple is prepared to kiss once more, yet Jay feels an armband on the student's hand, precisely like the one that was on the late understudy's hand. Before long the chief rushes in and vows to oust Kanha from the school. The following morning, a consultation is held, however Jay protects the kid and furthermore illuminates Rian that she cares deeply about Kanha. Ryan chooses to cause desire and begin a relationship with Ira. Simultaneously, Jay requests to come clean with Kanha in light of the fact that she thinks about who he truly is. Scared of being uncovered, Kanha tricks the young lady and says that he simply needs to be the smartest understudy of this school to get a blissful future for himself. Jay doesn't trust the fellow and expects he's concealing something, yet can't demonstrate it since his own record says he has no kin. In the meantime, Ryan takes a stab at the rec center and thumps his rival, wishing that Kanha was in his place. The following morning, Ryan chooses to keep claiming to be Ira's blissful sweetheart and consents to give her a ride to school. Simultaneously, Jay meets Kanha and recommends that he go to class with her. After showing up at the school, the pair clasp hands and shock the 2 understudies and educators. They fear the potential repercussions, knowing that the cutie had recently dated Ryan and no one but he could hold her hand. One of the school young men courts Ira, since they once went through the night together, yet the young lady overlooks him, longing for a typical relationship with Ryan. There are just 4 understudies in the exceptional class for the tip-top: Ryan, Woojin, Ira, and Jay. The lovely young lady chooses to fix this and orders a 5th seat to be gotten for Kanha, since she paid for his group and needs the person close by. Subsequent to hearing this, the harasser who attempted to whip Kanha grovels before him and apologizes. He is prepared for the person to beat him with a stick, however Kanha doesn't require it. He is substantially more flabbergasted by the way that even among the first class, there is an order. Before long, Kanha finds an admonition note in the wardrobe that Ryan can get back at him, and the person will rehash the destiny of the departed understudy. The modest school young men attempt to get to know Kanha, as he has turned into a famous character. During a soccer match, Ryan brings the group triumph and enthusiastically kisses Eru, realizing that Jay is available among the fans and attempting to cause her to feel envious. The person in affection with Ira attempts to converse with her, however she brushes him off discourteously, requesting him to disregard the sentiments and the night they spent together. The chief plans data about the school young men and gives it to Ryan's mom. Simultaneously, Kanha meets Taho, the child of a rich man and previously an old buddy. They conceal the way that they know one another at school, yet choose to talk in a bistro, not understanding that the Key's child is snooping on their discussion. Kanha vows to assemble proof and uncover the wrongdoing composed school. However, first he wants to accumulate pieces of information about what's happening here. At night, Jay visits Ryan and asks him not to involve their shared companion for narrow-minded purposes. Disregarding his all-around ex's words, Rich welcomes Ira to his place, and she quickly shows up to get to know one another. In the interim, Jay keeps on experiencing the activities of the blackmailer, who vows to uncover every one of her mysteries. The young lady fears this, realizing that her dad can do to her as horrendously as he did to her mom. Besides, the top of a major organization maintains that his girl should wed the child of his colleague, and she can't protest it. The following morning, Kanha gives Jay a ride to school on his bike and treats her with desserts. The young lady asked her not to become hopelessly enamored and says that she is just associating with him out of pity and apprehension about being executed, yet Kanha isn't apprehensive about that. At night, Jay prompts Ira not to succumb to Ryan's incitement and realizes whether her men have figured out how to track down the blackmailer. The following evening, the world-class coordinate a party went to by the understudies and their folks. Kanha, as other unfortunate understudies, is engaged with a music band to bring in a little cash. Ira's dad fantasies about climbing to the next level and requests that she acquaint him with Jaya's dad. Ira requests that her companion do as such, however she impolitely denies her, which drives the young lady feel mad. Ryan's mom and Jay's dad speak with one another and completely prevent the chance from getting a connection between their kids. Jay's dad is centered around cash and Ryan's mom is keen on power, so the younger students are not appropriate for one another. Seeing from the external that her dad is less significant than these two, Ira chooses to pursue retribution on Jay and lets her dad know that the young lady has a sweetheart and it's a transient understudy named Kanha. From the flashback, it turns out to be clear who precisely ran over Kanha's sibling, taking and concealing his mobile phone and a pen with a camcorder. In the current state, Kanha opens Ryan's cabinet, attempting to track down unlawful substances in it, however rather sees a photograph of a blissful Jaya. The following morning, Ryan shows up at Eugene's place to communicate with his family and acknowledge what ordinary and adoring guardians mean. Jaya's dad communicates his disappointment to his little girl about her relationship with a poor person and illuminates her that she will move to the US after her investigations. The young lady disagrees and quarrels with her sibling over it, however she can't protest her oppressive and severe dad. The following morning, Kanha offers Jay an undeniable relationship in which he will fulfill her, however the young lady fears it and rejects the person. One attempts to comprehend what Deo and Kanha are stowing away. Simultaneously instructor hand incites Jaya to an outrage, yet the young lady discourteously answers the lady, seeing her marked thing that doesn't relate to her status and pay. Having met with Kanha, Ira cautions the kid that Jaya is more hazardous than he can envision, and maybe she is answerable for the wrongdoing against the departed understudy. During an illustration, Jaya is coerced once more. Besides, a mysterious individual distributes her own photograph via online entertainment, making many individuals begin snickering. The young lady takes off, without understanding that Woo Jin and instructor Han are behind it. Seeing Jaya's response, Kanha surges after her, yet is come by Ryan. During an exchange, the unassuming person keeps himself sure and pronounces that they will not have the option to threaten him or dispose of him the same way they did the departed understudy. This makes Ryan apprehensive and attempts to figure out who Kanha is. Through a long pursuit, he discovers that Kanha is the twin sibling of the departed understudy. In the interim, Jaya converses with Ira and discovers that the blackmailer's from their school, yet she can't figure out additional insights regarding what its identity is. the young ladies and their well-established companionship in the midst of the way that Ira loves Ryan and needs to accompany him. For reasons unknown, Ira's family is nearly insolvency and the young lady is prepared to successfully help her dad's business. At night, Jay's dad welcomes her to supper with a colleague and her child. During the discussion, the young lady starts to be extorted once more. Incidentally, she was already pregnant and disposed of the child. Anxious that her dad will learn about this, Jay retches, after which the young lady swoons. A business endlessly meeting with her life partner is upset, so her dad rebuffs G and sends her to a ranch-style home, after which she will leave for the USA. Finding out about this, Kanha heads to the young lady's home to help her in her period of scarcity. Knowing who Kanha is, Ryan additionally races to Jay's place. Ira attempts to keep the fellow and admits her adoration, yet he doesn't respond to her in any capacity. Simultaneously, Jaya admits that she is the person who ended the existence of a school kid and Kanha pronounces that he is his twin sibling. Jaya uncovers that she and Kanha's sibling became companions, which made the kid be harassed and thumped consistently. She was tormented by her sibling and the late understudy upheld her, not realizing that she was Ryan's better half. Kanha requests more responses, however abruptly Ryan shows up and assaults him. A battle breaks out between the folks and Jaya recollects how the late understudy was whipped. She requests that the folks stop, and Ryan quiets her down, which causes Kanha to feel superfluous and leaves. Before long everybody learns about Kanha being the sibling of the departed, including the headmistress of the school. She undermines the person with ejection for a conventional explanation, however he has recorded this discussion on a recording device and can now shake down her into remaining here as far as might be feasible. Jaya consents to turn into June's significant other and leave with him, so her dad lifts the house boycott. At the point when the young lady gets back from a date, she is met by Ryan, who admits his affection and vows to successfully hold them together. In spite of the admission, Jay rejects him and returns home, asking him not to annoy her any longer. At night, Era welcomes her companion to a party to pay tribute to her takeoff, yet it is past the point of no return, as Jaya will leave prior. The young ladies essentially disdain one another, despite the fact that they were companions. Era has gotten soil from Jay's sibling and is prepared to utilize it against her, yet her companion proclaims that she will leave for New York easily. Era asks her dad for cash for the party and gets it, regardless of liquidation. Simultaneously, the school finds that Daeho is a companion of Kanha's and fiercely pummels him for it. Kanha supports the student and thumps Junseok, advising him that he's simply a regrettable student, pursuing Ryan to claim to be his companion. Simultaneously, obviously Jay's genuine blackmailer isn't Woojin or Mrs. Han, yet the school head's child Juwon. He sends the young lady another message and makes her anxious. Not knowing who to go to, Jaya requests that Kanha help her track down this man, yet the person would rather not help her and Ryan. After school, Woojin drops Era off, expecting to admit his affection to her and disregards the instructor. After getting back, Era discovers that her folks are essentially bankrupt, and the bailiffs have taken all their adornments. The following day, Jaya expresses farewell to her family and goes to the air terminal with June at night. Era sets up a party to pay tribute to this, to which she welcomes every one of the understudies of the school. Kanha uncovered Juwon, understanding that he was the blackmailer and inquires as to whether he was companions with his late sibling. Before long, Era gains from the news that June has been captured at the air terminal for selling white powder. Simultaneously, a vehicle shows up in the lobby, from which Ryan and Jay get out. Clasping hands, they declare that they will be a couple in the future. Furious at what's going on and his defenselessness, Kanha requests that Juwon give him every one of the recordings and soil to use against the school's world class. After the party, Era has a battle with Jay and Rian, understanding that they can never again be companions. Getting back, the young lady discovers that her dad has at long last failed, and presently they are compelled to live in a modest and horrendous inn. In the interim, Ryan and Jay go to a cafe to talk and make up, beginning their relationship all once more. In the meantime, Woojin discovers that Jay went to a gynecologist in the US and was pregnant. The following morning, the unfortunate school kids join to begin a mob for equity. Kanha and Juwon vow to give their best for have more privileges and for the rich to quit embarrassing them. Subsequent to meeting Jay, Woojin admits that he adores Era and needs to be with her, yet the young lady's activities ruin everything. At night, Era gets soil from Jay's sibling and discovers that her ex has lost a kid. Furious, she smacks the person upside the head on the grounds that such data can't be utilized for coercion and control. The following day, Jay goes to an unfortunate neighborhood to meet and converse with Kanha. The young lady concedes that she cherishes Rian and needs to accompany him, so she will successfully safeguard the fellow and his standing. Rian enlightens his mom concerning his crush, yet she is against a relationship with the girl of an opponent. Woojin, while getting back, meets an educator in a blue BMO, the vehicle that hit Kanha's late sibling. From their discussion, obviously they are the ones in question and maintain the mystery between them. Simultaneously, Woojin concedes that he cherishes Era and needs to accompany her, so he parts ways with educator Han. Before long, Rian gets the very tape in which he and Jae hang out. The person requests to track down the blackmailer and manage him as quickly as time permits. Rian quiets the young lady down and vows to rebuff the guilty parties. Kanha undermines the head and requests that he make the school fair or something bad might happen. He will distribute soil demonstrating the idleness of educators and head. Ji discovers that Juwon was the blackmailer and converses with Kanha once more, encouraging to safeguard Rian to the last. Not entirely set in stone to make sense of the justification behind this way of behaving, Jae admits that she adores the fellow and just said a final farewell to him and made a trip to the US to end her pregnancy. She wouldn't even play with the possibility of making this stride, despite the fact that she feared the dad, yet lost the youngster because of anxious strain. Feeling for the young lady, Kanha chooses to do everything so she doesn't get into an outrage. Yoojin offers Era material assistance, however the young lady declines and illuminates Rian that the blackmailer might be Jae's sibling. He thumps the person, yet Kanha stops him and comes clean with him about the young lady's pregnancy. Jae convinces his dad to assist Era's dad's business and wipes the slate clean with his better half, after which he vows to get back to the US. Rian attempts to converse with the young lady and backing her in a troublesome second, on the grounds that the passing of a kid is their normal despondency. Yoojin upholds the couple, however just professes to be a companion, since it was he who originally confessed to every one of the key to Jae's dad. Inevitably, it becomes realized that the genuine guilty party who ended the existence of Kanha's sibling was Instructor Han. The person saw her in Woojin's arms, and the lady feared exposure. While pursuing the person, she unintentionally hit him, after which she ran away from the location of the mishap. Kanha gets the video film from Juwon and takes it to the police, bringing about an examination. The police investigate the maltreatment, offer of unlawful substances and different wrongdoings that occurred at the school. Numerous understudies and educators go under doubt, yet rich guardians step in to correct the circumstance. The schoolchildren choose to change their perspectives towards poor people and settle on some mutual interest so that clashes will be a relic of days gone by. Rian finds that a tape from his home has been sent by the school head. Simultaneously, Jae attempts to converse with the blackmailer Juwon and understands that he is excessively lamentable, in light of the fact that he needed to hurt her however feared public struggles. During the exchange with the chief, Rian discovers that behind everything is his mom, who needed to indulge her child's relationship with Jae. In the meantime, the young lady meets Kanha to talk and apologize for her way of behaving. As she bids farewell, she rejects that she was infatuated with him and leaves. At night, she shows Rian an ultrasound photograph of their child. 2 or 3 struggles with dealing with it and chooses to begin their lives with a fresh start. The following morning, they visit Kanha's sibling's grave and attempt to be great individuals. Realizing that the educator was involved with Yoojin, the chief expels her from school. Simultaneously, Loojin is tortured by his still, small voice, as he was the person who did all that to get Jae to go to the US and presently thinks twice about it. Han resents the fellow and commitments that this isn't the end and she will get back at him. Understanding that she is risky, Loojin gives Jae the pen film that Kanha gets. He takes the video to the police, which brings about Instructor Han being captured and shipped off prison for taking Kanha's sibling's life and running away from the location of a mishap. The organizers behind the school throw out the head and attempt to work on the standing, promising to figure everything out. Rian apologizes to Kanha, however he doesn't acknowledge his regret as his late sibling can't be brought back. In the wake of going through her last day with Rian, Jae leaves for the US prior to admitting to Kanha that she had to be sure been enamored with him for some time. A brief time later, life at school settles down and nobody harms each other any longer. In the meantime, Jae shows up in the US and finds that she can at long last live with her mom, whom she hasn't seen in more than 15 years. Simultaneously, Woojin concedes that he cherishes Era and needs to accompany her, so he says a final farewell to educator Han. Before long, Rian gets the very tape in which he and Jae hang out. The person requests to track down the blackmailer and manage him quickly. Rian quiets the young lady down and vows to rebuff the offenders. Kanha undermines the head and requests that he make the school fair or something bad might happen. He will distribute soil demonstrating the dormancy of educators and head. Ji discovers that Juwon was the blackmailer and converses with Kanha once more, encouraging to safeguard Rian to the last. Not entirely settled to make sense of the justification behind this way of behaving, Jae admits that she cherishes the fellow and just said a final farewell to him and headed out to the US to end her pregnancy. She wouldn't even play with the possibility of making the stride, in spite of the fact that she feared the dad, yet lost the kid because of apprehensive strain. Identifying with the young lady, Kanha chooses to do everything so she doesn't get into an outrage. Yujin offers Era material assistance, yet the young lady declines and illuminates Rian that the blackmailer might be Jae's sibling. He thumps the person, yet Kanha stops him and comes clean with him about the young lady's pregnancy. Jae convinces his dad to assist Era's dad's business and buries the hatchet with his better half, after which he vows to get back to the US. Rian attempts to converse with the young lady and backing her in a troublesome second, on the grounds that the passing of a kid is their normal despondency. Yujin upholds the couple, however just claims to be a companion, since it was he who initially confessed to every one of the key to Jae's dad. Inevitably, it becomes realized that the genuine guilty party who ended the existence of Kanha's sibling was educator Han. The person saw her in Woojin's arms, and the lady feared exposure. While pursuing the person, she coincidentally hit him, after which she ran away from the location of the mishap. Kanha gets the video film from Juwon and takes it to the police, bringing about an examination. The police investigate the maltreatment, offer of unlawful substances and different wrongdoings that occurred at the school. Numerous understudies and educators go under doubt, yet well-off guardians step in to correct the circumstance. The schoolchildren choose to change their mentalities towards poor people and settle on some shared interest so that clashes will be a relic of days gone by. Rian finds that a tape from his home has been sent by the school head. Simultaneously, Jae attempts to converse with the blackmailer Juwon and understands that he is excessively lamentable, on the grounds that he needed to hurt her however feared public struggles. During the discourse with the chief, Rian discovers that behind everything is his mom, who needed to pamper her child's relationship with Jae. In the meantime, the young lady meets Kanha to talk and apologize for her way of behaving. As she bids farewell, she rejects that she was infatuated with him and leaves. At night, she shows Rian an ultrasound photograph of their child. Several struggles with dealing with it and chooses to begin their lives with a fresh start. The following morning, they visit Kanha's sibling's grave and attempt to be great individuals. Realizing that the educator was involved with Yujin, the chief expels her from school. Simultaneously, Lujin is tortured by his still, small voice, as he was the person who did all that to get Jae to go to the US and presently thinks twice about it. Han resents the fellow and commitments that this isn't the end and she will get back at him. Understanding that she is perilous, Lujin gives Jae the pen film that Kanha gets. He takes the video to the police, which brings about instructor Han being captured and shipped off prison for taking Kanha's sibling's life and running away from the location of a mishap. The organizers behind the school throw out the head and attempt to work on the standing, promising to figure everything out. Rian apologizes to Kanha, yet he doesn't acknowledge his regret as his late sibling can't be brought back. In the wake of going through her last day with Rian, Jae leaves for the US prior to admitting to Kanha that she had for sure been enamored with him for some time. A brief time later, life at school settles down and nobody harms each other any longer. In the meantime, Jae shows up in the US and finds that she can at last live with her mom, whom she hasn't seen in north of 15 years.